Good morning, sir.
We have been having these wonderful sessions for the past few months, and it is a thing which we cannot afford to miss. Sunday morning, we are only opting to start. Without wasting much time, my wishes to everyone in this difficult period. Let us start and get on with it. Thank you so much, TBR.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, anybody can unmute and speak, sir.
Good morning to everybody. I am Naidu from Tirupati, ex-sergeant.
And retired income tax commissioner. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Great,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Morning, sir. I am Sergeant Rajendran from Coimbatore, eagerly waiting for the session.
Welcome, sir. Rajan, sir. Yes, sir.
HFO Sethi from Delhi
Welcome.
with our boss. And you are my flight commander.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Right, sir.
Welcome.
Yeah, you have to change your name from Warner to Sabkal, sir. Anybody can try otherwise. Patak sir, you can.
Good morning, everybody.
Yes, sir. Morning, sir.
We are eagerly waiting for our Air Marshal Joshi sir's second part. So let us
Start with the program.
start the program as early as possible. We are eagerly waiting.
Yeah, okay. To have an excellent session, a second session of our Air Marshal Joshi, sir.
It is also going to be lengthy.
Yes, sir. In fact, we had a wonderful session with lots of learnings out of his experiences, and the things we would have not known outside were now known to us yesterday when we were on the call with our Air Marshal Joshi, sir, along with our Patak sir. So it was a great learning, and I feel really blessed to be able to interact all the super air warriors and knowing so many things even outside the Air Force. So I should be grateful to all the warriors who have been talking and inspiring all our air warriors for the past 7 months for that matter. So it's a great learning place even during the pandemic time. So when the entire world is reeling under serious difficulties. Now I get a lot of feedback from our own air warriors saying it's giving a lot of inspiration and support and motivation and a kind of a proper way of leading a life, even forgetting about the challenges that the entire world is facing. So I welcome our today's guest, Air Marshal Avinash Joshi sir, for at another session of lots of inspiration and information from his side. So welcome, Air Marshal Joshi sir. So it's a great pleasure having you on the call and knowing your service experiences at all the stages, starting as a fighter pilot to that of reaching up to the level of CNC Eastern Command, and finally CNC, that is Special Forces Command. So you are welcome, sir. Joshi sir, please unmute and speak, sir.
Thank you so much.
So out of the beautiful inspiring first session, now we are for the second session. Yes, sir.
Well, I hope I can match up with that. But first of all, today being Friendship Day, wish all of you a happy Friendship Day.
That's great, sir. Happy Friendship Day to you all, and it's a really great thing for us.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
You know, the last time, of course, we went on for almost 3 hours.
Yes,
so
sir.
there were a few things which I just wanted to cover just from interest angle.
Yes, sir.
The first was Noor Amin from Kanyakumari had asked a question, which he sent me later on the WhatsApp.
Sir.
Was how did Pakistan send messages that I'm a POW and things like that?
Sir.
And now all I want at that time there was no answer, and even today I don't have an answer. But it is basically that they were very good in psychological warfare.
Psychological, yes, sir.
Because they had the Americans behind them. They were way ahead as far as all this was concerned.
Sure.
So obviously they were much better than us as far as the psychological warfare was concerned. Now, you see, not only in my case, when we moved to Hindon for rest, that is 20 and 27. What we got to know later on was that when Wing Commander Parker went to his house in Delhi, there was a telegram over there saying that he has been made a POW.
Telegram from our Air Force, sir? Air Force?
No, a normal civil telegram.
Civil telegram, okay.
So you see, this is what was happening,
Sir.
basically to lower the morale of the people.
Yes, sir.
You see, so they were sending messages to families and things like that.
Sir.
So I suppose that is one of the things that happen. Otherwise, we are not aware of how and why and all those things. The
Sir.
second story which I wish to bring about is a very interesting story. Now, you see, I had a dog, a Cocker Spaniel, and a cat, a Siamese cat.
Okay.
Now, you see, since the family was not there, I used to lock them up into one room. In the evening, I used to give them their food. And fortunately, that room had an attached toilet also along with it. So there was water in the bucket and things like that.
Sir.
Now on 12th, all of a sudden, when I moved out, I suddenly realized at Hindon that I had not left the key with any of my friends to feed them.
Okay.
So I was now, how do you talk to somebody out there during a wartime period when you can't get through to anybody, whether on civil telephone or anything like that?
Sir.
And I came back home on the 22nd of December. From 12th to the 22nd, they were locked in.
10 days gap.
They were locked in the house. Now, I wasn't too sure what was the condition of those pets of mine. And the minute I opened the door, both of them jumped up at me and, greeted me with such, my God, where did you go for the last 10 days?
Okay.
And I was extremely surprised to see that things like, bread pieces and pieces of meat and all this was lying on the floor.
Okay.
Now, I had not given them that.
Okay.
Now, what has happened actually is that, in these old houses, bungalow types, we used to have a ventilator on top.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the cat would go out of the ventilator
Mm-hmm.
and bring all this into the house.
Okay, from outside. Okay.
From outside, he would bring the food in.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that's great.
it means that, like they say, dogs and cats can't get on. But my God, they got on very well.
Mm-hmm.
And they looked after each other during those 10 days.
That's great, sir.
Fortunately, there was water in the bucket, so at least that was not a problem. And in
Okay.
winter period, you don't drink very much of water in any case.
Yeah, survived successfully.
Survival. Now, survival was one of the major lessons that one can learn out of this.
Yes, sir.
That you can be the worst of enemies,
Yes.
but when the time comes, you will look after each other. The next story that I wanted to mention was, we in 71, we always talk about what the air crew did or what the ground crew did. Or, we are not talking about others. And I felt that this particular story needs to be brought out.
Sir.
Now, in our squadron, we used to have, people looking after in the tea club. And we had 3 people. That was a person called Peter, William, and another fellow called Gurnam Singh. He's a very tall, handsome chap,
Sir.
And very smiley fellow.
Sir.
He could crack jokes with anybody. He didn't bother that whether you were officers or anything else. Neither did we bother very much because he entertained us quite a bit.
Sir.
Now, this guy had an uncanny thing about him.
This man, sir.
Yes, the one on the left who's serving.
Yeah, this one. Yes, sir.
He was a villager, Punjab ka villager,
Achha.
but with blue eyes
Sir.
and a very smiley, happy-go-lucky guy.
Okay, sir.
Now, he had a very uncanny thing about him that during the wartime in Pathankot,
Sir.
he could make out the difference between enemy aircraft and friendly aircraft.
Oh, that's great.
And whenever the siren went off, he would call the people out of the trenches and say, "Come on out. This is a friendly aircraft coming. The hunters are coming back."
Okay.
Or he would say, "Baitho andar, Miraj aa gaye."
Now, how was he able to do it, sir?
I don't know. He had this very uncanny thing about him.
Oh, achha, by intuition. Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what kind of a thing he had in him. But
Yes,
he
sir.
could make out. He could easily make out all the aircraft.
Sir.
Now, one day what happened was when the CO was going for a mission,
Sir.
he picked up the CO's helmet and all that and took it to the aeroplane.
Mm-hmm.
So the CO said, "How did you know that this is my aeroplane?" He said, "Sir, Afsar book mein likha hai."
Achha. Okay.
So the CO got a little perturbed. He says, "How does this fellow know?" Because everything is written in English.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the CO thought at that time, and he reported him to the IB. And this poor chap was picked up by the IB,
Sir.
and they did whatever they had to,
Oh.
and was finally came back to the squadron, a little broken man, and the IB reported that this guy is a super intelligent fellow.
Oh. Okay.
His IQ is very, very high,
Okay, sir.
and there's nothing that you can suspect him of.
Okay.
It is just, he's naturally born like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's great, sir.
But that changed him completely, and later on he was a very subdued,
Oh.
pulled up man. He felt like he had been let down.
Oh, okay, okay,
My own personal thing, because I also took over as the adjutant later on.
okay.
And I tried to tell him, that listen, these kind of things do happen in wartime.
Mhm.
You are a super intelligent fellow. That is why people suspected that maybe you could be an agent or something like that.
Mhm.
But I thought I should mention it today,
Sir.
that there are super people like this.
Okay. In spite of their position, lower position in life.
They may not be recognized in any book or anything of that kind.
Yes.
Can
Sir.
you repeat his name? Can you repeat the man's name and rank?
His name was Gurnam Singh.
Gurnal Singh.
He's said to be NCE, sir, not even airman, with great intuition of knowing the things beforehand.
Was he a Sikh Sardar Hata?
Well, I don't know whether but he was like this only right from the beginning.
Okay.
Mona.
Maybe a Mona.
Okay.
And even later on, when I happened to meet him in Ambala, he had been posted to Ambala at that time.
Sir.
I met him, but he was gone by then. That
Completely subdued.
That spark in him had gone.
Lost. Okay.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate thing, sir.
It is unfortunate that a thing like this happened.
Sir.
So I thought, I said, I can never forget him because.
Oh.
And I should always tell people, that here's a man. He doesn't need a decoration, but in my mind, I have decorated him.
Oh, that's a great thing, sir.
That was this thing about.
And who are all the other people, sir, in the photograph, if you can say?
The photograph is. I am the one who's taking the photograph, so I'm not there.
Yeah, okay, you are not here.
This fellow is now Galawat. He got a VRC.
Achha, he was POW also. Okay.
He was a VRC. He got a VRC in the squadron.
So Jai Singh Galawat, sir.
Jai Singh Galawat.
Yeah, we had him on our call previously, sir. Yes, sir.
You already had an interaction with him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Sir.
Next person was late Deepak Yadav.
Okay, sir.
He was posted to OTU and was involved with Longewala side.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he died. He was a test pilot. He died in a flying accident.
Subsequently, sir, after the war.
As a test pilot, he was.
So it must be a war photo, sir, in that case.
Yeah. He did so well, but I think Das sir would probably know.
Sir.
Because I think they were together, may have been together in that area.
So Das sir, if you can say something about him.
This person was Flight Lieutenant Walia.
Sir.
He went medically down, so he did not take part in the flying part of it and was attached to the ops room.
Sir.
But he was there with me.
Sir.
When Flight Lieutenant Dhavle got shot down.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
We were coming back from the mess at that time together.
Okay. So.
Well, this
yes,
was just the continuation of 71 as such.
Sir.
Subsequently, after that, we in 1972,
sir.
we were suddenly told that your op location is going to be Nal.
Sir.
And therefore, they said the WAC sent us on a detachment to Nal.
Sir.
We got airborne as per the date. That was the date that was supposed to be.
Sir.
And we were about 6 aircraft which landed up over there. And we tried to contact Nal airfield. There was nobody in the ATC.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing known.
Okay.
Now we kept orbiting over Nal.
Okay.
And wondering what to do. Finally, we contacted the SU of Bikaner.
Sir.
And told them that please tell them that we have come overhead and we are wanting to land.
Sir.
Suddenly, somebody came up on the RT and we said, request permission to land. He said, yes, land.
Okay.
So we were wondering who the hell this is. This is not an ATC officer.
Okay.
He happened to be one of the airmen over there who took up the RT and started saying, yes, you can land.
So why did he come, sir? What about ATC officer?
What had happened was,
Sir.
WAC had given us a signal of moving to Nal.
Sir.
But Nal was not prepared, and neither they had fuel, and there was only one wing commander there and one Adam officer there because it was an FBSU. And because at that time it was a care and maintenance unit also. It was just one wing commander was there. Although WAC sent out a signal that it had not reached Pathankot.
Okay.
So we had already got airborne by then.
Okay.
And anyway, somehow we landed over there and we went and parked in the pens. There was no fuel to refuel the aeroplane. and the hunter needs to be refueled immediately because it has collapsible tank.
Okay.
And we just landed up over there. There were just tents. There were no tents, nothing. And the first time I had gone to Nal was in 1967.
Okay.
And there was only one building there and the CEO's office and one thing like that. So something like that was the same happened in when we went there in 72.
Sir.
We kept waiting, and then finally the Bowsers arrived, which was supposed to come from Hindon.
Mm-hmm.
And because CNMU was under Hindon at that time.
Okay.
And this fellow, the MTD, was selling fuel en route. So that is why he came late.
Okay.
And anyway, all that thing happened over there. And there was nothing, no rations, nothing available. And we were there for about 2 months.
2 months. Okay.
Activated over there.
Sir.
And somehow we managed and eating. We had one airman mess going and we used to get food from there.
Acha.
And there was no officer's mess and things like that.
Okay.
And anyway, after the 2 months, we went back and standard things started carrying on with 27 Squadron.
Sir.
We started doing a lot of hill flying now in the valleys and things like that. And in 1974, in the meantime, the CO changed, YP Mehta changed. Farooq Mehta had come in, Wing Commander Farooq Mehta, who was a VRC of 71 only in the same sector as OTU.
Sir.
And things started changing after that.
Sir.
And in 1974, I got posted to the Flying Instructor School in June.
Okay, sir.
And that's another, in June, I went to Flying Instructor School. And that was in Tamram.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's another story as to I happened to be on leave, and as usual, I got recalled well before, and then trying to get reservations, trying to reach Tamram itself was a problem because there were no direct trains going anywhere.
Those days. Yes.
Anyway, reached FIS, and the training started off over there.
Sir.
6 months training, which is on the HJT-16 and the HT-2.
Sir.
Did fairly well over there, and then I got posted to the Air Force Academy.
Okay, sir.
So when I reached Air Force Academy in December 74,
sir.
The 113 pilots course was going on, and we just did the last part of that. Then I was in Air Force Academy from 74 to June 76.
Oh, for about 2 years.
Yes, 2 years, and I looked after this 114 pilots course.
Okay.
In the 114 pilots course, my pupil got the best in aerobatics trophy.
Great, sir.
And in 115 pilots course, initially my name came as standby to be posted out. So I was a little foxed. I said, I've just done about not even a year.
Okay.
But in my place, it was Harish Masand who went to.
Acha, okay.
He had come earlier than me.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So he got posted out, and I was attached to the Directorate of Studies.
No, was he in the AFA, sir, during the time? You were together?
Yes.
Okay, great, sir.
Everyone comes to Air Force Academy or Hakimpet or wherever it is. You're one of the instructors there.
Yes, sir.
But I was flying the HJT-16 Kiran, and that time they had Howards and Kirans over there.
Okay, sir.
I was flying the Kiran. And then in the second term, I was with the Directorate of Studies.
Mm-hmm.
But I had 2 pupils with me.
Yes, sir.
And plus, I had one more person who was, we had a few 4-5 pilots who were ex-transports converting onto fighters.
Is it possible, sir? That's right.
They had introduced it.
Conversion. Acha, unit days. Acha, okay.
That time.
Okay.
So there was a person who was he was a helicopter pilot, one course junior to me.
Sir.
But he was my pupil.
Mm-hmm.
And after finishing that course, when the 117 pilots course came,
okay.
At that time, I had that was in the month of Jan 76.
Sir.
Now, my wife went through some very major problems.
Sir.
My third daughter had been born.
Oh.
And she was having, and unfortunately, all 3 were cesarean, so she had physical problems at that time.
Health issue, yes, sir.
And I had asked for attachment to Pune, which was granted by Training Command.
Sir.
And that is why during that period of time, I got attached to Pune.
Okay.
Now, though I had 3 pupils,
Sir.
One was a person called Joshi only by name.
Okay.
One was an Iraqi.
Okay.
We had a few Iraqis also, boys who had come in. The Iraqi fellow was quite a funny chap. And but I just initially did their initial briefings and I got attached to Pune.
Sir.
But later on, I heard that this boy Joshi on his first roll had ejected.
Oh.
From the Kiran.
Oh.
His father being the DG of police of MP, and father being an IAS officer, they managed to get him out of the Air Force.
Okay. Okay.
And this fellow later on became Joint Secretary and was in the Ministry of Defence.
Okay. So you went into civil services in the case.
He went into IAS at that time.
Sir.
And I recognized him at that time because I was following his career.
Okay. Okay.
Later on, when I was an Air Vice Marshal, I asked him, I said, do you remember who your instructor was? So he says, no. I said, yours truly was your instructor.
Okay.
That was me, and I've been following your thing everywhere.
Okay.
Anyway, but, well, that is that. And then subsequently, my posting out came to Kalaikunda.
Sir.
And that was to 37 Squadron, which was on Hunters that time.
Hunters, yes, sir.
So they needed instructors there because now at that time what had happened was everyone, all the cadets, there was no trifurcation. There was no fighters, transport, helicopters. In those days, everyone was sent on to fighters.
It's a common course.
Yeah, from 114, earlier it was 113, 114, 115, 116, 117.
So no bifurcation.
So there was no question of trifurcation. Trifurcation was there during our time.
Yes, sir.
And trifurcation came in later.
Okay. Okay. In between it was not there. Yeah.
That time everyone had to go on to fighters.
Okay.
So there was a bunching up of people over there, all these courses over there. So 14 Squadron was also made into an OCU. OCU was in any case there. And 37 was also made into an OCU.
Okay.
So I got posted to 37 Squadron as an instructor over there. But we had a dual role. That means we had an operational role also, and we had the training role.
Both the roles, yes, sir.
Both the roles were there. Plus, in 37 Squadron, we were tasked with the color presentation for Republic Day.
Okay.
For 1977 January.
Right, sir.
So life carried on over there as normal. Nothing very major that was there. But in the meantime, we also got the signal saying that 37 Squadron is converting to onto MiG-21Ms.
Okay.
Which
so
is
from Hunters to MiG-21, sir?
Yes, from Hunters to MiG-21.
Sir.
Our CO was a person called Wing Commander Dan Singh Nagi.
Okay.
And he had just come before we had arrived.
Sir.
So finally, when after doing the color fly past, we came back, then he insisted, he was one of those sportsman type of people. So we had to go through he had decided to have a sports day also.
Okay.
He made me the adjutant.
Okay.
So packing up the squadron also, packing up my house also.
Okay, so many things.
And then we were divided because we were only 6 people. 6 pilots were moving to convert from Hunters to MiG-21.
Okay.
And the men also were divided.
Okay, sir.
So a lot of work was involved. Special trains were involved. And for me, it was a very difficult task because I was really running around trying to get organized things.
Sir.
And, 37 had come from earlier Hashimara to Kalaikunda, and they had a lot of difficult people over there.
Sir.
It was very, very, tricky to handle people. And I was very strict, extremely strict.
Okay.
So now we had about 250 odd people which were traveling with families.
Okay.
And when the train arrived, it came minus a few bogies.
Okay.
So it became a hell of a problem now, how to cramp people into those, into the train. And we had only sleepers and normal thing and a lot of people moving around. So I had told people very clearly, I said, I will do a head count every morning and evening on whichever railway station we land.
Okay.
You will all come, form up. I'm going to count because I know some of you will get run away. You will take a normal train and you will go somewhere.
Okay. Roll call kind of thing, even the railway stations.
So I started having a parade on the railway station.
Okay.
Plus, railways forgot to give us the kitchen compartment.
Sir.
So how to cook food for so many people.
Oh, so many issues. Yes, sir.
So we had to stop at railway stations, dig up places, make a stove of mud, this thing, heat up firewood, make food for people. And it was a very difficult task over there. Plus, little bit of indiscipline was also there.
Of course, sir.
I was wondering as to, how so many people were there because actually head count was hardly anything, about 200 plus. There were actually a lot of people had run away from Kalaikunda, that means ladies actually.
Acha, okay.
Come onto the train. So that head count went up and finally somewhere at Kanpur we were given the kitchen.
That's a compartment.
And then we made it to Adampo.
So how many days it took, sir, for the journey?
Almost a week.
1 week. Okay.
1 week it took. And they would stop at funny places, not even where you can go and buy vegetables and things like that.
Okay.
Some village, small station, they would stop. And we had to tell the driver, Baba, why are you stopping like this? We want to go to and buy vegetables, buy things. We have to run a proper mess for everybody.
Yes.
It was a real learning experience for me.
Oh.
Real learning experience. I don't think I slept during those 5 to 6 days was there. Plus, there were some riots going on somewhere, so we had to put the shutters down and had to keep guards on duty with the rifles and things like that. So that train, where the train stopped somewhere, we had to put people on guard duty immediately.
For security reasons, yes.
Because of the riots and things that were taking place.
Why riots?
Some riot was somewhere in UP area. Something was going on. I don't know.
Okay, sir. Right.
I don't remember what happened.
Yes, sir.
We were only told that please be careful for tonight because you could have problems.
Right, sir.
This was the railways told us.
Acha, okay.
So immediately I ensured that there were guards everywhere and things of that kind. And we landed up at Adampo.
Sir.
And the families of course went. I was of course the last person to reach the Air Force station. And when we reached the Air Force station, we found that there were no houses given to us.
Oh, no arrangements. Okay.
At that time, the person who was the AOC was Air Chief Marshal Lafontaine.
Okay.
He was the AOC. And no houses were kept, including for RCO. Why? Because some message had reached him that you are to provide accommodation, which that normal English mistake. I'm not going to give houses now. Anyway, so we had to obviously double up with some few people who were already had houses and slightly bigger bungalows and one bedroom could be given to us, things of that kind. And somehow we managed to settle in. And then the conversion to the MiG-21 took place. For me, it was a brand new aircraft because I had never flown MiGs.
Okay.
And so I had to go through the complete technical thing as well as being the adjutant. So it was quite a thing that was going on. At least for me, it was a lot of work.
How long was the training, sir?
Well, it was the normal standard MCF, which they do for about 20 days, 15, 20 days of MCF, simulator.
Okay.
And then the flying starts.
Okay.
But to become operational on that type, it takes time.
Yeah, okay.
See, during that time, again, the same problem took place. I lost my mother.
My God.
Before that, while doing FIS, I had lost my father. There were a lot of personal issues that took place in my life at that time.
Okay.
Then my father-in-law passed away.
Oh.
So it was a number of issues which kept, going up and down like that. Anyway, finally, I became fully operational. The 37th Squadron was then asked to start operating from Avantipur.
Srinagar, Avantipur, yes, sir.
In Avantipur.
Sir.
So we started doing detachments in Avantipur then.
Mm-hmm.
And during that period of time, we were also exercised within the mountainous terrain. And the Type 96 is a little heavier than the earlier MiG-21.
Okay.
More of a ground attack aircraft as such.
Sir.
We used to do both the roles, air defense and ground attack.
Grounded both, okay.
A little heavier aircraft. And we used to fly from Avantipur over the mountains to Leh, go up to Chushul, and with the army do exercises over there.
Okay.
And then it was fairly about 2 months detachments we took.
Sir.
And then come back to Adampur.
Okay.
And then again after some time go back to Avantipur. So it was a continuous shifting like that. Now during one of those detachments, I was suddenly told that you are to carry out night flying over here as a trial. Night flying had never been done in the valley, only because the mountains were on either side.
Okay.
And, at night you can't see very much. So I got airborne from Avantipur at dusk.
Mm-hmm.
And after doing approaches at various places, including Srinagar, landed at Srinagar.
Okay.
Then after the aircraft was turned around, of course, it was the moon phase at that time. The moon was
there, yeah.
At that time. It was not dark. So then I got airborne. There was my number 2 also was there. There was another squad leader.
Sir.
But I got airborne first, and then I cleared him to get airborne. From there, at night itself, we flew around in our various sectors. Now, obviously, I sent him down south and I was up north, and then we switched places. And then we did approaches at night at Avantipur. And then we came back and landed at Srinagar. At that time, Air Commodore Malik, he used to be known as Nimbu Malik, very strict person. So he asked us, he says, what do you feel? I said, yes, sir, night flying can be done because in a moon phase, you can see the tops of the mountain.
Okay.
Not that you can't see it, you can see it.
It's not completely dark, yes, sir.
No, it is not darkness. So there is no harm in allowing night flying to be here. Give a restriction that only 2 aircraft or 4, maximum of 2 aircraft will get airborne. And so he was quite happy. He took us home and gave us dinner and all that thing.
Okay.
Next day, of course, we got airborne and came back. WSC was very
happy. How was your feeling, sir, during that night time? For the first time you were flying with lots of apprehension as to how to do it and all?
Yeah, I know in the sense that apprehension is there.
Sir.
But minute you get airborne and you could see it like almost like, daytime only.
Oh, okay.
Not exactly daytime.
Not exactly, yes, sir. Okay.
But, it was not very difficult.
Okay.
Plus, the circuit, the flying of the circuit was over the town. Now it has changed to the other side.
Sir.
At that time, it was over town, over Srinagar as such.
Mm-hmm.
And we felt quite comfortable. There was no difficulty.
No difficulty, yes, sir. Okay.
No difficulty. And subsequently, after that, night flying has been carrying on in Srinagar. And it was not going on at Avantipur so much, but at Srinagar it was going on.
Sir.
Because Avantipur still did not have the electrical lighting, and they were putting goosenecks and things like that. And then in 1980,
sir,
my name came for the fighter combat leaders course.
FCL, yes, sir.
FCL course.
Yes,
and so in 1980, I went for the FCL course over there.
Mm-hmm.
And that carried on from December to the end of March, April, beginning of April.
So, now what exactly is the role of this fighter combat leader, sir?
See, the thing is that what we learn in the squadron,
sir,
is what the squadron teaches us. Okay. And each one makes out their own tactics and things of that kind.
Sir.
So what happened was the Air Force decided to have a list unit called TACD.
Yes, sir.
Tactics and Development Establishment.
Okay.
And they are the ones who started developing tactics with the number of aircraft. Earlier we used to do, 1 versus 1. I mean, one aircraft versus another aircraft. Sir. And you somehow, even if you were 2 aircraft, you broke up into 1 versus 1 only.
Yes, sir.
But in this particular thing, the thing started, tactics started changing into that 2 aircraft should be able to support each other.
Okay.
When you go into a fighting thing, you should be able to support each other. It's not that you go into 1 versus 1 after. So tactics were developed like that.
Right, sir.
It became 2 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 4v2, 4 aircraft versus 2 aircraft.
Okay.
The attackers were 2 aircraft, but the defenders were always initially 2, then 4.